Hello? Can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, say something in the text. The chat. Excuse me. Hello, Andrew. Oh, we got a few viewers out there. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Matt. Vancouver. I haven't. I've only been to Niagara Falls for like a few hours, so I haven't made it to Vancouver yet. But I definitely need to make it. It's on my list of places to visit. All the videos old Reese at RM Transit has made about the air train. I really want to ride it now. Hey, lad. So, does anybody have any questions about channel or any of the topics that I've covered, or in trains in general, or anything like that? I will do my best to answer. Thoughts on the Second Bay Bridge and Geary Subway? Are they planning a Second Bay Bridge? Second Bay Crossing. All right, yeah, no, that's a good topic to talk about. I've mentioned it in I've mentioned it in a video previously that I would love to see a tunnel built outside the north of the Transbay Transit Center. I know that's an incredibly long shot. I know the second Transbay crossing is probably going to be BART. And that's great. Run it down Geary Street. I think that's wonderful because Geary used to have Muni light rail, I believe, and now they've just got buses. I think isn't Geary the one that they're putting all that new red colored concrete in for the bus lanes? I think that's what we're dealing with. But no, second Transbay crossing. If it's BART, that's fine. If it were the out of the Transbay Transit Center, though, Caltrain could run north potentially. California High Speed Rail could run north across the bay. Then trains going to Sacramento from San Francisco wouldn't have to go all the way around the southern end of the bay. But one step at a time, we need to build the southern tunnel first, just so that any trains can access the station. But I'm excited for San Francisco. Hey, Murgatroyd from Chicago. That's actually, I grew up in a northern suburb of Illinois. I was born in Chicago, so greetings. I'm glad you've been watching my videos. Thank you very much. Matthew, yes, I'm really going back to the Central Valley. When? I'm not 100% sure. It's probably going to be sometime later this year. I'll probably do like another cannonball run, real quick trip out there. It was a pretty marathon ordeal. It was 2 full days. I woke up at 8 o'clock, finished filming about 5 o'clock. Obviously, from Wasco to Madeira, to Madeira, it's quite a long ways, and it was a lot of work. And I wasn't 100% happy with all the gaps in the filming. There were several gaps, and particularly in my CP23 Part 1 video. A lot of that was from the road, and it's not good enough. I need to do that again. But thank you very much. I'm glad those videos did so well. It was a lot of work, and I really made them just because I wanted to see it, because the authorities' videos were nice, but they weren't giving me a good overview of the project, so... Yes, I'm going back. Hey, Petra from Toronto. Nice to meet you. Uh, Geary and Van Ness are getting BRT. Yeah, that's what I thought. I can't remember if it was Geary or Van Ness that was getting the colored concrete, but one of those. Thank you, Murgatroyd. I'm glad you've been enjoying my videos. That's what I'm trying to do with this channel. Obviously, most people here and the videos that do the best are construction updates on transit lines and California high-speed rail, obviously. And so those aren't going to stop. I'm definitely going to keep doing those. But I'm trying to open it up and try new video ideas, see what works and what doesn't. Had some duds. That's fine. Actually, my recent Amtrak video that I did talking about the map, that thing totally bombed when I released it. And then I released my BART video, and then that Amtrak video just took off. It's got like 25,000 views, I think, now. It's totally insane. It's like my fifth most viewed video. I was not expecting that at all, but that's why the more videos you upload, the better you have of them doing well. I don't know. Definitely no expert. Toronto Transit Channel. Hey, how's it going? Aurora, hello. What is needed for a subway tunnel? Well, I will give you my brief layman's overview because that's all I have. I'm not any kind of tunnel engineer. But yes, ventilation shafts with the BART San Jose tunnel, Silicon Valley Phase 2. Those tunnel vents are freaking crazy. If you haven't watched my video on that, you should watch my video just to go to the link of their video because they did an animated flyover of the route. And the station access shafts are going to be enormous, and there's going to be 2 tunnel vent shafts. There's going to be 2 large tunnel vent shafts where the running tunnel tracks go from side by side to stacked on top of each other. And it's going to be a 43-foot interior diameter tunnel. But as far as other issues, you need emergency access in stations. So if you're in a subway station and you see like employees only steel doors or something like that, there's probably stairs behind that emergency exit. And along the whole tunnel, new subways are built with, easily accessible walkways. Like, if you've ever watched any of the MTA's videos about rebuilding old subway tunnels, there are some walkways, but they're usually pretty sketchy, not very wide. But new modern subway tunnels have wide walkways along the entire length of the tunnel, so that if a train gets stalled along the running tunnel somewhere, it's easy to evacuate them. But bottom line is they're not cheap. Sometimes they're really, really not cheap, like the 2nd Avenue subway. But yeah. Hey, Moncor, love the LA Metro series. Thank you very much. I didn't do the Gold Line, as you probably know. Gold Line Foothills Extension actually has a really good YouTube channel, and basically I just didn't have enough time. The extension they're doing is huge, and it would have taken me a long time to film in any kind of adequate way, so just didn't get to it. Next time I will do a video on the Gold Line extension. Hey Jermaine, how's it going? Looking forward to coming to your part of the world. For those that don't know, actually I'm going to be taking a vacation starting Monday. I'm going to head to the East Coast and do a bunch of filming. Got a lot of videos in mind of transit projects that I want to film. Some of the obvious ones are the GLX Green Line extension in Boston, the Maryland Purple Line, Silver Line extension to Dulles, Charlotte, the streetcar extension. Those are just some of the topics that I'm going to be covering. So watch out for those future videos. Edward, how hard is it for a subway to operate across state borders like New York and New Jersey? Obviously there's some kind of goofy, like, regulatory stuff, but I don't imagine it's too hard because in addition to, you've got PATH in New York, PATCO in Philly, and then there's another one. I need to know more about the Northeast. That's also why I'm going to the East Coast to brush up on my Northeast Rail geography knowledge, because if you didn't know, I live in Nebraska, and yeah, we don't have any passenger trains hardly. We've got the California Zephyr, and that's it. Toronto Transit Channel, just living the dream, crapping on the Port Authority of Allegheny County. Excellent work you're doing. Taking one for the team. What's the deal with Mobile to Jacksonville Amtrak? I'm going to be honest with you. I've kind of blocked out that story because trying to follow as many different topics as I do, I can only take kind of so much bad news at once. But expect a video on it, and I will have an answer for you at that point. Obviously, the backstory is after Hurricane Katrina, the tracks were so damaged that CSX didn't want. They used that as an excuse because CSX doesn't want any passenger trains, and so if they could get the Sunset Limited off their tracks, that was what they did. So they said that it was too expensive to repair the tracks to passenger standards, and they've been trying to get the Sunset Limited reinstated ever since. But I believe Amtrak is trying to sue CSX or something like that. And people were talking about how CSX sold the line in Florida. Yeah, take their word for it. I'm not... I know more about Western railroads. But expect a video on it. I'm definitely going to be making one. David, hey. Yes, definitely enjoyed the drone video of California High-Speed Rail. Hello from Toronto. We have a lot of Toronto fans, and I think I know the reason why. I need to get to Toronto. The Go Transit up there, that's a very exciting project. And I definitely want to visit Canada someday. Hey, GK from San Diego. How much... I would imagine California would get some money. I don't know. I'm sure they'll get some money, but no, they're not going to get $100 billion or $90 billion, whatever they need to finish the project. It'd be nice if the federal government decided to step up and support the project, but I don't know. Just because California High-Speed Rail has had such negative press since before the bond passage even happened. And all the delays and all the lawsuits and everything, and there's just been so much hate on the project, that has definitely done a lot to sway public opinion. Particularly Ralph Vardabedian over at the LA Times. And obviously, I'm not saying that you shouldn't hold huge government agencies like the California High-Speed Rail Authority to account. They should absolutely be critical of them. That's what local news is for. But, you know, it gets to a point where it's just like... I'm no fan of old Ralph. But I'd like to think that the authority would get a lot of money, but we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, commenting on issues like following Congress is very taxing. No pun intended, but it's just hard because, you know, everything changes every day and there's so much hearsay, and it's like, you know, one congressman will like tweet like, oh, you know, we're going to get this, and this, and then, you know, none of it happens. And it's just, yeah, not the most fun thing to work on, but will they call off California High-Speed Rail construction, WTX? Luke, no. I don't believe so. I mean, of course it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, if you go on Google Earth and you go to the historical maps, check out the area right next to the Caltrain station in San Francisco, because you can see that they had actually started building a freeway to connect up to the Bay Bridge and the Embarcadero Freeway in the early 90s, and then, of course, they ripped that all up. So, yeah, the project could be abandoned. I really hope it doesn't. It could just get to a point where They go from Merced to Bakersfield, and it's just a new high-speed line for the San Joaquins. Obviously, that's a possibility. That's been a possibility for a long time. It would be a terrible outcome because it would be like the most expensive line through the desert of all time, but for, conventional passenger trains. I hope that doesn't happen, but no, I don't think it's going to be abandoned, but it's a long ways until the project is complete, and they need help, they need money. They need political willpower from the feds. WMATA Metro, yes. Yeah. The Silver Line, it's late. It's not happening this year, but I will make a video on it. How's the construction on the Metro Purple Line in LA? I believe it's good. Haven't heard anything bad about it. Of course, it's already been, 6 months since I went and filmed in October, but I was just thinking of something, but no, since then, they did finish one of the running tunnels. I believe one of the TBMs got to their station in phase 1, the final station, yeah. Yeah, of course, it's Reese's fault. Have I ever gotten yelled at? For my Beltway project here in Lincoln, it was like before construction had just started, and we pulled off on one of the areas that is now completely gone, but it was a road at the time, and yeah, the guy chased me off. But as far as in any of the big cities now, if I'd flown my drone into a building on Wilshire Boulevard or Century City, I had a couple of close calls, and actually I've been waiting for my East Coast trip here because I'm sure I'm going to get into some hairy situations, but I'll be doing a drone almost fails videos because I haven't crashed a drone yet, but it could happen. I've gotten into some sticky situations before. But no, I haven't gotten yelled at for real. Virail, Edmonton to Calgary. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know anything about Canadian rail politics, but yes, it's possible. Anything's possible with enough money and willpower. Will it happen anytime soon? Ask Reese. I don't think so. It'd be nice, but yeah, of course, Aurora. Rail projects get like 10 times as much hate as rail or as road or highway projects. Which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this South Beltway project. And it's also one of the reasons why I decided to separate it off onto its own channel. Is because, it's going to be a long time before there's any kind of new passenger line construction in Nebraska. So it's kind of all I've got to go on. And it has really helped me improve the quality of my video making over the year that I've been working on it. But really, highway construction and railway construction, I mean, it's not like there's any kind of weird voodoo that they do with rail projects. It's all construction, It's all about getting a flat right away, pouring a bunch of concrete and acquiring the land. And so to have just witnessing up close the juxtaposition between the California High-Speed Rail project and this 4-lane divided highway project in my hometown, like there was zero opposition to this project. And then of course everybody's been known that it was going to happen for decades now. But it comes down to the fact that people have private cars and they can personally use the system for their own needs. Whether or not they will or not is kind of beyond the scope of the project. But yeah, no, everybody hates railroad projects because they see it as subsidizing other people, when in fact, if anybody had any idea how much we spend on airports every year, because the FAA covers 90% of airport construction costs. And so the local share is only like 10%. And Of course, that adds up when you're building a new airport like Denver, but it's ridiculous. And right now we have more increased air traffic in the Lincoln area because they're redoing the runway at Offutt Air Force Base, which is just south of Omaha. And so they shipped all that Air Force traffic to Lincoln here. And just to redo the one runway at Offutt is like $100 million. Yeah. No. Yeah, it's like $100 million. It's something insane like that. But, so yes, rail construction projects, particularly high-speed rail, they're really expensive. But, yeah, they definitely don't deserve the hate. And, if you look at the reason why the automobile took off so much in this country, it's because it put all of the cost of vehicle ownership on the individual person. Trains, they're expensive to operate, but you have to inspect them and fuel them and maintain them. And it's like, well, if we could just put all of those costs on individual people, why the heck not? And so, of course, it punishes, people that don't have the money for a car or, but even normal people. I mean, think about how much money you personally spend on your car. I know I'd be willing to spend like a fraction of that and have better passenger trains, but yeah. Favorite rail system in North America? Oh, that's a complicated one. I'm going to go with BART for favorite metro system. Favorite light rail? That's a difficult one too. I would probably the Blue Line, because I did live in Long Beach for 6 months. So the LA Blue Line, that's the one that I've ridden the most. And favorite commuter rail system, I'm going to go with New Jersey Transit. I've never even ridden it, but they've just got really interesting rolling stock collection. And I just think having a statewide transit agency like that, it makes a lot of sense for all the buses and everything. And I don't know. I like New Jersey Transit. And Long Island Railroad. Long Island Railroad's pretty cool, too. Hey, Dusty from San Jose. How do you think Brightline West is going to turn out? Do you think it will be as successful like Brightline in Florida? If they build it, yes, it's going to be very successful. And I've said it before, it will be even more successful if the state builds the High Desert Corridor between Victorville and Palmdale. The High Desert Corridor is a proposed 4-lane interstate highway. It's going to be a California state highway, but to connect Victorville and Palmdale, and then have a rail corridor alongside it. It's kind of like a complete highways, how like complete streets, but it doesn't matter. Because nobody lives in Apple Valley, California. And nobody wants to go to Apple Valley, California, but everybody wants to go to Las Vegas. And so I'd prefer, the High Desert Corridor would be nice, especially if they could connect into the California high-speed rail system and run all the way down to Union Station. But why not? You just build a tunnel under the San Gabriel or Cajon Pass. Build a tunnel under Cajon Pass. Might take a while. Might be a little expensive, but I support that. But all that stuff aside, yeah, Brightline West is definitely going to be successful. I hope they get their bonds spent or sold and spent. I hope they start construction this year. It'd be awesome to see. Hey, Brian. Sweet. Jenna. Hello. Nice to meet you. Thanks for your answer. How long does it take to edit a video? Thinking of your construction updates. Construction updates for the Beltway or transit agencies? Because the transit lines take a lot of research, and that's another reason why I really like the Beltway project is they take zero research. I can knock those things out start to finish probably about 8 hours for a Beltway video. Transit, they take forever because I didn't do a script for Crenshaw LAX line, and it definitely shows. I'm not happy with that video. I was trying to get it done quickly. I didn't do a very good job on it. I'm surprised I got, I think, 15 or 20,000 views. I'm happy regardless, but no, I need to do another one on that. But yeah, writing the script, it takes, BART Silicon Valley took a whole day. I did that all in one shot. Usually it won't be all in one shot like that, but And then editing, probably another day. So my Purple Line video, it took a while, but I was surprised at how well that did. It's my second most popular video, and yeah, it took a while, but I was genuinely happy with the results of how that one did. I got to start catching up in the chat. All right. So short answer, Beltway, 8 hours plus filming. It's usually about 3 hours of filming, 3 to 4 hours of filming. Just depends on how much time I want to waste. And transit line, maybe 20 hours. What routes were missing in your mind from the Biden Amtrak map? Hey, Edward. I live in Lincoln, Nebraska, so back in the 80s, Amtrak actually ran a demonstrator train down the Mopac from from Omaha to Kansas City. There's a picture of it sitting at the Diamond in Falls City, Nebraska. And yeah, no, Omaha to Kansas City would be a nice route. I had a commenter say Omaha to Kansas City to Springfield. Yeah, I don't know if he lived in Springfield or what, but that'd be probably a little less important. But I don't know. Everybody was talking about routes in Tennessee and Kentucky, particularly like Cincinnati, and I'm just not 100% familiar with that part of the country, and I'm even less familiar with the rail network around there. So yeah, no. Chicago to Atlanta. Why not? Go for it. Makes sense to me. But no, there were a lot of holes where I'm from. Lincoln to Omaha, Kansas City to Omaha. I'd like to see that. But no, and the glaring hole was obviously Bakersfield to Los Angeles. In the early 2000s, the state was planning on double tracking Tehachapi Pass to allow UP, so that UP would allow them to run, San Joaquin's over Tehachapi. That never happened. They decided to focus on the California High-Speed Rail project and then do Tehachapi at a later date. You know where we're at. It's not great. I'd love to see something over Tehachapi, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Are you interested in covering any BRT projects? Stay tuned. I'm leaving on vacation either tomorrow or Monday. I was really hoping to do a video on Omaha BRT before I left. That didn't happen. But Omaha recently opened a bus rapid transit line, and it's not great. I mean, I suppose it's better than nothing, but it is like the textbook definition of BRT creep, and not good. So yes, I will cover BRT in the future. It's just going to be a little bit. Gotta go on vacation first. Also, thank you. Best of luck. Oh, sorry, Reese. If he's not a fan of Bart, I take it. Porg Films. Have you done a video on the new transit in San Bernardino? Out to Redlands. No, I have not. Need to. Next time I'm in California, I will. It's just last year the idea of spending that much time in San Bernardino. I'm just kidding. San Bernardino is awesome. They got to fly over into the Metrolink station. Anybody that has a flyover is fine by me, but yes, it will happen. Lexi. When do you think we will get nicer commuter rail trains like Caltrain Stadler everywhere in the United States? I don't know. Do you want me to be honest, or do you want me to be, I don't know. Someday. It would be nice, particularly on the Northeast Corridor. Chicago has nice new Nip and Cherio electric DMUs. But, it's just one line. And that's, everybody, about my Amtrak video, because it got so many views, it got a lot of people that didn't know, about my channel or whatever. And there was a lot of people, saying, oh, this map is nice and I'd like to see it, but it's not worth even doing if it's not electrified, have to electrify the American rail network. We need to do all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, electrifying the American rail network would be great. And I need to do a video on this, but it's just like, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's not going to happen for like a long time, unless something changes, unless we like nationalize railroads or something. I'd love to see it. I'm not anti-electrification by any stretch of the imagination. It's just electrification is very expensive. It's even more expensive in this country where we don't have companies that do it on a full-time basis, and we don't even have like hardly any none of the freight railroads have any electrification experience, and they're going to fight it tooth and nail until eternity. So yes, there might be small isolated pockets of electrification like the Caltrain Peninsula, but it's going to be a long time before we see a whole lot more of that. So yeah, Northeast Corridor would be the best place to see new Stadler EMUs. Those things look fantastic. I don't know if you've seen them running out at the TTC, but they actually ship them on flat cars. Not 100% sure why, but that's kind of interesting. I'm sure it was because UP didn't want to deal with them, probably with the air brake system. I'm sure the air brake system is probably different. Hey, Tyler. I was wondering if when a car is poorly maintained and hurt people, it is treated as more acceptable because it can just blame on the individual. Yes, that's absolutely right. And also with vehicle manslaughter, like motor vehicle homicide and vehicle manslaughter have like ridiculously low punishments compared to, every other form of manslaughter, which, of course none of it's good. I'm not advocating. Anyway, but there was just a case, around here, up in Omaha last year. A kid made a left turn in front of a concrete truck, and the concrete truck driver died, and the kid only faces a year in prison. It's like, well, no, he didn't like choke the guy and kill him with his bare hands, but if he hadn't turned, the guy would still be alive. So it's like, he kind of killed him, and he faces at most a year in prison. And so we're not talking about criminal justice reform or anything like that, but I'm just saying there's a huge disparity, and you could call it a subsidy for cars because, like, yeah, if you run over a pedestrian, what, you get a year in prison? It's ridiculous. And yeah, nobody cares about when people would hit bikes. Like, nobody ever cares about that. But yeah, no, there was a time back in, this was several years ago, but yeah, another dump truck, the brakes went out, and it at least one person died because it cut across several lanes of traffic and then drove into a Burger King. I mean, it was totally insane, but yeah, I think it was probably like a fine and maybe like 6 months of jail, maybe, I don't know, but no. But yeah, if a train isn't maintained and runs into something, then yeah, of course, they take that pretty seriously and come down pretty hard on the operator. Live in Palmdale, and the high desert corridor is desperately needed. Yes, it totally is. What's the most northern interstate? I think it's 210 through Rancho Cucamonga. I think that's right. I'm not going to waste time looking it up, but yeah, no. The traffic even on that is ridiculous. Giovanni Rosas, R211. I've been trying. I know a guy who used to work at the Kawasaki factory in Lincoln, and I've been trying to hit him up, see if any of his old contacts would maybe try to let me in for a plant tour or something like that. Obviously, I know with COVID, it's kind of out of the question, but it would, going forward, once more people are vaccinated, it would be nice. So I'm working on R211 content, I promise. I was getting out of a haircut up by where the factory is, and just drove along just to see what was going on over there, and I was like, holy crap, that's going to be a popular YouTube video. And yes, it certainly was. So, Mr. Robot, BART is alright, but certainly not the best. Vancouver SkyTrain is one of my favorites. MBTA is sorely underrated. Yeah, no, MBTA subway is awesome. I think the trains look really nice too. It's kind of reminiscent of like Glasgow. Obviously, MBTA is a lot older. I'm not trying to like throw any stones or anything like that, but no, Vancouver SkyTrain looks awesome. I need to get up there. It's just no two ways about it. I need to go to Canada. So, Timothy, it's so strange that the housing activists and the developers aren't supporting HSR more vocally. It's basically the best trick to solve the housing crisis in California. Do you agree? Yeah, obviously. And people were criticizing California high-speed rail originally, talking about how it was just like a huge gentrification plan, and it's like, well, it's not the main focus of it, but yeah, if cities like Fresno are an hour away, it takes an hour and a half on Caltrain. Of course, there's going to be way fewer stops on California high-speed rail, but it would take like an hour to get from San Jose to the Bay Area under the current situation until we get more grade separations and curve realignments. So it's going to be a long time before Fresno's an hour away from San Francisco, obviously. But an hour and a half, yeah, people would definitely commute to Fresno. I think it's going to have a big impact on towns like that. And if we could get updated service like to Stockton, and I need to do a Livermore extension of BART, need to do a video on that. I'm not 100% sure on all the details there, so that's my fault too. But yes, California high-speed rail is going to have a huge impact on real estate costs. And that's what I couldn't believe when I was filming my high-speed rail videos is coming into Fresno, like it's just fields, fields, and then bam, you're at the 99, and then you're in the middle of Fresno. It's crazy. And I understand that's because that it is that way because agricultural prices of land are just totally insane because that land's really fertile. So that's one impediment. Obviously, Fresno's growing a lot on the north side. But yeah, no, smaller towns like Madera, Merced, it's going to have a big impact on those. All those towns, Gilroy, yeah. But as far as should developers be advocating for it, it'd be in their best interest. I'm not sure if I want all the pro high-speed rail, lobbying to come from housing developers, but desperate times, I guess. Brian Russell, if the proposed Cheyenne to Pueblo Amtrak route actually happens, how long do you think it will take to build? It just depends on how many goodies UP wants out of Amtrak to get the trains up and running. I'm not sure what the station situation is like in Amtrak. I believe they still have one because UP still has their steam program out in Cheyenne, and obviously, no, Cheyenne's not a very big town. It's only like 15 or 20,000 people. So I'm not 100% sure that line's going to happen. But there are towns in northern Colorado, like Fort Collins, that, with the school there, people would definitely be riding the train into Denver. How long will they take to get it built? Well, how long did the Hartford line take to build? 7 years? It shouldn't take that long. Northern Colorado is a lot easier place to build in than, Midwestern Connecticut. But it's going to take a few years. No two ways about it. If they have to buy new rolling stocks, which they will. New cars and locomotives are like at least a 3-year lead time, unless they're already in production. But even so, then it still takes a while to get that stuff built. So it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be a few years no matter what. Favorite fallen flag? Rock Island. Sorry. I live near the Rock Island here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Their old main line. It's a bike trail now. My dad grew up in Davenport, Iowa, and lived for most of his life in Chicago, so he took the Rock Island between Davenport and Chicago quite a bit, and I don't know, had awesome paint schemes. I love the Rock Island. And because they were a later railroad, their main line was much better engineered, Same thing with the Milwaukee Road through their northern transcon route. Part of it was electrified over the mountains, but yeah, the later the railroads were built, the better the line was engineered because they weren't just laying like wood sticks on dirt like the Transcontinental Railroad was. Just putting the line wherever the heck they felt like it. With once the cities were built up a little bit, particularly here in Lincoln, which is why the city hated the Rock Island so much because it cut right through the middle of the city. But you'll get more grade separations, not necessarily for roads. There was a ton of crossings in the city here, but grade separated railroad crossings, which is awesome. It's huge. My railroad, we have a line that goes from Crete down to Beatrice, Nebraska. It's just a branch line. It's always been a branch line. But the Rock Island has a flyover there, and the bridge footings, I believe, say 1922 for the Rock Island Bridge. So, yeah, it's I don't know. I love seeing old stuff like that. And the UP still runs coal trains up to Hallam, Nebraska, which is just southwest of here in a small little town. There's a tiny little power plant, but Rock Island's my favorite. All right, SEPTA, most underrated North American transit system. Change your mind? I'm not even gonna try. I like SEPTA, particularly with how much electrified track they have. I haven't really spent any time in Philadelphia, and there's nothing against SEPTA. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah. Philly isn't my favorite city of all time. I need to go there. I will go there. I promise I'm going to make a SEPTA video or something like that. Probably just ride the system because need to get more familiar with these the eastern railroads. All right. Yeah, especially the trolley system. Yeah. What is the line called? They have those little one car, high speed line. When I was visited Boston back in 2015, the people we were visiting lived off of the D Riverside branch. Oh my gosh. And that's what like the Mattapan high speed line in Boston, and I believe that high speed line in Philadelphia, whatever it's called, where they were grade separated and built just for trolley use. Those things are wonderful. I love legacy systems like that. Any transit book recommendations? I do have a lot of books. The last one I read was The Race Underground. It was about the building of the New York City and Boston subway systems. Fascinating book. That's just it. I can read at work, but reading a train book at work is difficult because everybody's going to make fun of you. So I get a lot of my information on the internet. And that's the thing too, is particularly because I cover transit construction projects, and transit in this country in some aspects is expanding so quickly and changing so quickly that a book, I mean, unless it's a historical book, it's just kind of not gonna cut it for my purposes. So it wasn't the last time in San Francisco, but I did get a book that the American Public Transit Association put out about the streetcar expansion, and that one was an interesting book. I can't remember what it was called, but Bobby, just saw a video about how the Class 1 companies are cutting corners. It was a Vice News video, and I know that because I just shot a reaction video to it. So stay tuned, Bobby. It's coming out tomorrow morning. It's already uploaded. It's my Patreons get for early access for it. So it will be out tomorrow. But yeah, long story short, my long story short, video is only about 5 minutes long, but yeah, basically it's about how precision scheduled railroading is negatively impacting freight railroads and causing more derailments. And yeah, they counter the claims with, well, railroads are actually safer if you look at, this set of data that we've cherry picked, and it's like, well, but what about hard and fast numbers about number of actual derailments? Of course, they're going up. James Leno. People in the SF Bay Area drive 1.5 hours a day. They'll take the train. Of course they will. Yeah. If it's good. And that's why I have mixed feelings about like the BART fleet of the future. Is I understand where railroads are coming from by having more streamlined seating options, less seating options, because they want more people on the trains. Obviously, that's the goal of the railroads. But even Pittsburgh into the city is like freaking an hour almost. I mean, 45 minutes? It's still a while. It's a while to stand. And God, Santa Clara into the city is going to be an hour. So, yeah. Trains like the Capitol Corridor, where you have a desk and you can actually work on a laptop, and the trip lasts 1 to 2 hours. Of course, that's fantastic for working, but the tickets are expensive. And of course, if you have some high-powered job in San Francisco, you can probably afford to ride it every day. But I can't afford to ride the Capitol Corridor every day, and that's why I live in Nebraska. Andrew, ever heard of the Baltimore Metro and Rail? Light Rail? Yeah, I've heard of the Baltimore Metro. They use the same cars as Miami. I haven't been to Baltimore since I was a little kid, and that vacation would have been just in the back of a van, so I never rode the Metro. Might have to. Might be riding it here in next week or so. I don't know. I've got so many plans of stuff that I want to do and film, and zero plans as far as like motels and everything, just because, however, depending on how long it takes to film a project, everything's going to be up in the air. So I'm going to try and squeeze as much in. Probably not going to get to everything, but I'm going to give it my shot. My dad loves the Rock Island too. Excellent. They're great. Great old railroads. Too bad they are non-existent anymore. Raphael, hey, how's it going? I'm excited about Florida Brightline. I may even want to go to Florida when the Orlando extension opens. Haven't been there. Yes. My first video was in May of 2017. I had 2 weeks of vacation, and I was going to go camping and kayaking, and then realized that wasn't quite all I was cracked up to be. So I had a bunch of miles on my card, and I was like, well, where can I go for cheap? And I was following the Brightline project at the time, and I wanted to see the construction, so I flew down to Miami by myself, and I spent a couple days in Miami, and I took Tri-Rail up to Fort Lauderdale to see the depot there, and walked around the depot, and I love Brightline. My only gripe about Brightline, and I'm going to do a video on it, it's going to be a short video because it's just going to be me bitching, but Brightline ain't high-speed rail. There's nothing high-speed about Brightline. I mean, 125 miles an hour, it's certainly a whole heck of a lot better than 79 miles an hour, but it's nothing to write home about. That said, I'm a Brightline fan. I want to see him go to Disney. I want to see him go to Tampa. The Orlando extension is in full swing. You might see a video on that in the future, but I just need to curb people's enthusiasm a little bit. It's not high-speed rail, and certainly we should not be talking about Brightline to the detriment of other high-speed rail systems that are under construction or will be coming under construction soon. Yeah, Brightline West is going to be awesome, particularly if they go 150 miles an hour, which is the plan. 150 miles an hour is high-speed rail. 125 is not. Might seem pedantic, but electric trains accelerate, particularly to higher speeds like that, much quicker than diesel trains, and they don't pollute. Obviously, you can make all the pollution arguments about emissions coming from the factories, and yes, but at the end of the day, they're still a lot cleaner than diesel locomotives. And if you live next to the diesel shop, like in Fort Lauderdale, where the Brightline depot is, then you won't have locomotives idling for hours on end right next to your house. So, I'm a Brightline fan. Definitely going to ride it when it's open. It just is what it is. Um, Pow to you. I've been looking into the mismanagement of the Milwaukee Railroad lately, the 60s on. Yeah, I don't, I'm not too versed in Milwaukee Road history, but I know that they basically never really recovered from the financial burden of building the Pacific Extension, their transcontinental route, and particularly by building it through areas that were unpopulated, so they didn't go through towns, so add the further expense. They were never really able to recover from that, and it's too bad. Because Milwaukee Road was awesome, awesome, and I love their electric trains. So yes, it's a fascinating story. Love the drone videos of the South Beltway. I share them to my company all the time. Excellent. I'm glad. And I did see you subscribe to the new channel, so excellent. No, I love making the Beltway videos. Just, I'm a construction dork, and that's the thing is, like, even people that live in Kansas, people talk about Kansas all the time, and it's like nobody talks about Nebraska. Nobody cares about Nebraska. And it's like I know why. I'm not an idiot, and I'm not even originally from here, but I've got a soft spot in my heart for Nebraska, and just trying to share a little bit of it with the rest of the world. How do I feel about Biden's infrastructure bill? I don't know if you saw my video on it, but yeah, I don't know. Well, they haven't signed it yet, have they? Or have they? Yeah. I guess they have. It's the jobs bill they haven't signed yet. I don't know. It just doesn't do enough. For all the hype about Biden's politics, it's just doesn't do quite enough. Yeah. I was under the impression that Amtrak Superliners were easier to run and maintain than the Viewliners. Do I know if that's right? No, I don't. That's the first I've heard of that. I don't know, man. The Superliners are freaking huge. They're heavy too. They're like 80 tons. Um, I don't know why they'd be harder to maintain, particularly because the Viewliners are so much higher up. So I don't know if it was a maintenance thing or what. Haven't heard that before, but yeah, if you hadn't seen my video about complaining about Amtrak, my main complaint with the Superliners is I don't know, they look fine aesthetically, but no, and the inaccessibility to people with limited mobility, because if you have limited mobility, you're either stuck in a downstairs coach seat or a downstairs accessible bedroom and sleeping area. And of course, the employees will bring you food. Obviously, nobody's debating that. But you miss out on the observation car, you miss out on the dining car, and of course, it doesn't really matter here or right now because of COVID. But I'm not going to back down from that. I think the Superliners, I think it's time for them to go. Got nothing against them personally, other than the things that I just outlined. And like I said, I don't think they're going to be able to come up with another Superliner design that could actually pass FRA crash worthiness standards. And maybe we'll see a relaxing of those standards in the future now that positive train control has been installed on all passenger routes. But I just don't know. I don't think they'll be able to rebuild those things. Do I like the F-125s? Yes. I need to make a video about Metrolink because, like I said, I lived in California and I like Metrolink. They're a hugely underrated or underutilized asset. And if Reese hasn't already put out a video, I think he's going to be doing a video on Metrolink. So watch out for his video on that. But no, it's ridiculous. Because they have all these contracts with the freight railroads that they signed in the later 80s, early 90s. And they have a ton of capacity. It's just all of the different counties that are part of the Metrolink system, they don't have automatic contributions to the system, so they kind of pay whatever they want within reason. And so, yeah, places like like Orange County, I know everybody blames them for everything, but it's kind of true. So, yeah, some of those counties aren't serving Metrolink's best interest, and sometimes they do really stupid things. Like, I know that the BNSF motor thing was just because they didn't have enough power to run their own trains, but come on. That was like beyond ridiculous when they were using the AC 4400s. But no, I'm glad they got the F125s. I was kind of sorry to see when I was there in October all the motors they weren't using, but obviously with COVID they cut their services way back. So, and I'm not even sure what all the problems were with the F125s when they got them. I know that they had a lot of problems. I know the first one didn't go into service for like a year, but glad they're working now. They look nice. I think they look awesome. Any Amtrak route I would want back. Desert Wind, hands down. Salt Lake City's a huge city. I don't know why they don't have more than one train service. Particularly going to Las Vegas. Obviously, yeah, Nevada's huge and all of that. But, yeah, no, I'd like to see the Desert Wind come back. Because Salt Lake City has their Union Station. It has a ton of capacity with all their... front runner commuter trains. I would love to see that train come back. Raphael, I'm also construction dork. I can water pipes. Wabanesh design the alignment. I'll have to meet you on site. Yeah, no, I'd love to meet up with you. We can nerd out about water relocation, stuff like that. Joe's plan 5% for infrastructure. Shoot it down. Yeah, there was a lot of non-physical infrastructure things included in that, and I'm not knocking those things like childcare. That's very important. We need like some kind of at least universal credit for childcare or tax credit or something like that. But no, if we're not building anything, it's not infrastructure. I don't know. It's just kind of how I feel. But all right, Orange County Airport is a disaster. That's why I never flown there. My first trip, after I got my job at the railroad, we flew out to Los Angeles and flew into LAX at like 4 in the afternoon, and I realized it was a huge disaster because we were going to Disneyland, and I realized that was a very dumb decision, and I was not thinking about LA rush hour traffic between LAX and Anaheim. But yeah, no, I've never flown into John Wayne. Haven't had the pleasure. Yeah, nice people move. Sure. Have your people call my people. Yeah, no, unfortunately they're not bringing the people mover back. I was fortunate enough to experience rocket rods back in 1998. Very briefly lived system, and rocket rods use these cars to like accelerate at high speeds, and it basically destroyed the concrete track that the people mover was built on. And so yeah, no, it's too late. Can't bring it back, unfortunately. But all right, anybody else? I managed to catch up in the live chat. Oh my God, we've been on an hour. Well, I can't believe anybody will listen to me talk for an hour, but yeah, might be time to start wrapping it up. I don't know. If anybody has anything else, please shout out, and I will keep grinding on. Hey, Snowy, I'm glad you saw my Amtrak video. Everybody saw my Amtrak video. Like I said before, I could not believe that video did so well because it's not very good. And it took me like no time to put together. And I know that I should just be making more videos like that because obviously somebody wants to watch them. But no, I think what's one of my most underrated videos? I don't know. There's definitely videos that I've had that I spent way more time on that didn't do very well. Hey, Ian from Hayward, right next to the BART shops. How's it going? Thoughts on the H word, heart? Not sure I know what H word you're talking about. Piper. Oh, shit. I've been putting off a Hyperloop video for a long time, and the reason I've been putting it off is because I don't care. The Hyperloop, and I don't know. I followed Elon Musk for like a little while, and I just kind of got tired with the whole situation. I do enjoy them watching them blow up rockets in Boca Chica. That's kind of fun, but no, that freaking tunnel in Las Vegas. Yeah, I don't even know like how anybody's supposed to be excited about that. A car tunnel, you can't open the doors. There's no walkway. There's no anything. It's a total pipe dream. The Hyperloop is like a design on a napkin. And I know Joe Scott, he's a big YouTuber. He did a video on it. I was trying to beat him to the punch, but he put out his Hyperloop video first, and I was like, I don't care. But not that there's going to be any universe that I could compete with Joe Scott, but that was kind of where my motivation was at. No, the most shameful thing about the Hyperloop is they got cities with stupid, short-sighted, opportunistic transit planners like Chicago to sign on to the project. And I don't care what Las Vegas does. I mean, it's not even like a real city, if we're being honest. So Las Vegas can do whatever the hell they want. But I do care about Chicago. And it's unfortunate, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I know that, Richard M. Daley, I think was the last Daley mayor of Chicago. And I saw this crazy article written several years ago, but he built all this crap during the reception. And apparently one of the things was like a huge underground subway station between the red and the blue line downtown in the basement of some building that's now built, obviously. And so that's probably what Chicago has in mind for a Hyperloop to O'Hare, is to utilize that station. And so from that sense, like, sure, but I don't know, man, why not advocate for a Crossrail project there? I don't know, maybe the physical design of that box would limit the length of trains and therefore make it not feasible for a Crossrail type system, but the Hyperloop isn't going anywhere. It's dead on arrival. It's just basically a Ponzi scheme. I don't know. Changed my mind. I'll do a video about it someday. It just kind of annoys me too much. I haven't gotten around to it. I wish Amtrak was priced like the Euro systems. The demand should go up. I am walking distance from Hayward BART station. Yeah, no, Amtrak's prices are too high. It's just the way it is. They are too high because they're not funded adequately by the government. And people... yeah, obviously we're all transit fans here, so I don't have to convince any of you. But if they just call it an investment rather than a subsidy, it's like... That's the kind of insane stuff about politics that drives me nuts, is like a choice of words like that can actually have meaningful impact in real life, and it's very silly. Walking distance, the Hayward BART facility. I hope they don't keep you up all night. Old WP right away. Nice. Are there any tracks there? I would imagine not, but... could Amtrak extend electrification south of DC, say to South Carolina? Well, they could do anything. If I think it's CSX, if they would play ball. Hard to say. I know, like I said, I'm not familiar with East Coast rail geography too well. But I know that the few Northeast regionals that start off in Virginia, I know that there's somewhat serious talk about extending electrification along those. Then they wouldn't have to change motors in DC. That'd be nice. Love to see that. Like I said before, electrification in this country, it's it's tough because the freight railroads have no interest in it. The reason why they have no interest in it is because if they can't use a locomotive across their entire system, then it's seen as kind of a liability and extra cost. Training employees to work around electrification, obviously it should be, pretty simple, but they don't want to have to deal with it because Railroad Employee Liability Act makes them liable for all injuries on their property to their employees, and so they're paranoid about introducing any kind of danger like that. Like, yeah, should you not climb on top of your locomotive and touch the 25,000 volt wire? No, you should not do that. Seems pretty straightforward, but that's the kind of silliness that we're dealing with when we talk about freight railroads. They're incredibly conservative. They're incredibly resistant to change, and if it doesn't make them money, they don't want to do it. Diesel locomotives make money. They can use them across the entire system. My opinion on graffiti, subways, commuter trains in the United States. I saw a dude put up a video, a month or so ago about this train in New York that, they covered the whole thing. I'm just impressed by that. I'm personally not a big fan of graffiti. I think it can look cool in some instances, but personally, I'm just not a big fan. That was what surprised me the most is when I was riding the Piccadilly. Well, it was the Heathrow Express when I landed in England. I was like, holy crap! There's graffiti everywhere. I was not ready for that, and I personally punishments for tagging stuff probably are a little high, a little insane, but no, I'm not a graffiti fan. I don't knock it, but it's just not for me. I'm more impressed though when they can cover the entire side of a rail car. It's like, how the hell did you get 25 feet to cover that boxcar in graffiti? It's impressive. It really is. But Dumbarton Rail Bridge. Yeah, no, have to do it. Definitely should. I don't care who runs on it. Amtrak, Caltrain, Ace, anybody. It would probably be Caltrain, but no, I'd love to see it happen. They should definitely do that. Be cool to saw a plan to do that recently. Yeah, they want to do it for sure. Mayor Daley did destroy Meigs Field, which I liked Meigs because you always took off from there in Flight Sim 2000, and I have fond memories of flying around Chicago, taking off from Meigs. Was it the best place for an airport? I don't know, probably not. But at the same time, people that live next to O'Hare probably wouldn't agree that O'Hare is located in the best place. So, yeah, it is what it is. No, Meigs Field is cool. I wish it wasn't gone. It's better than in boat parking or whatever the heck it is now. Not sure if the Dumbarton Rail plan fell through. Me neither. I haven't been following it very closely. Texas HSR, yeah. Texas Central, I do think they'll break ground. They've been working on it so long, and they have so much of the right-of-way already under contract. I don't think they've actually purchased much of it. I think it's more they have agreements to purchase the right-of-way from landowners. But, Texas's problems and California problems are 100% the same. The only difference is Texas is looking to raise more private funding than California is. And so for, Brightline West, Texas Central, North Atlantic Rail Program, California High Speed Rail, name your project, they are all dependent on land acquisition, federal right. They did loosen federal crashworthiness standards for Shinkansens so they can run Shinkansens in this country. But no, they need federal power behind them to get eminent domain finished, lawsuits finished up, and just yeah, I don't know. I want to see Texas Central succeed. Will they break ground? Yes, hopefully this year. I get a 50% this year, 100% next year. that's my guess. There are still tracks in the WP right away and right away. That's too bad. Oh, Virginia bought some CSX right away. That's good. Where does that land, or where does that route that Virginia bought go from? No, they could actually absolutely do 220. Um, there might be some curves, particularly around Corcoran, that are a little tight. But I, if they design the right of way and are building in curves that can't support speeds of 220 miles an hour, then yes, I'm going to have to come down hard on the authority because that would be incredibly foolish. The entire Central Valley should be built at 220 miles an hour, like with zero slow owners. And I really hope that's the case. I believe that's the case because I can't believe that they would be that stupid otherwise. But stranger things have happened, so we will see. But I believe it is going to be good for 220. Right away south of DC and quad track sections are planned. No mention of electrifying. That's not super surprising, but at least they own it. That's good. Only way to get electrification on freight railroads in the U.S. would be to have the FRA mandate it like the FRA did PTC. Good luck getting the FRA to do that. Yeah, you're pretty much right. The only other way I could see freight railroads getting behind it would be massive tax on diesel fuel or massive carbon taxes, either of which are incredibly unpopular with federal politicians. And yeah, it's just not going to happen anytime soon. And I'm sorry to say that. It's just kind of the way it is. My feeling is like Gulf Coast Rail. I should do it. Make it 7 days a week. I'm sure the Sunset Limited, I don't know when they went to 3 days a week. I don't know if it was after the derailment in, Arizona or New Mexico? I think it was New Mexico. I can't remember, but I'd love to see that line and all Amtrak lines 7 days a week, or twice a day, 7 days a week. But no, I'm a fan of Gulf Coast Rail. No. I was not surprised that Biden's infrastructure plan didn't include HSR. Theoretically, this is part one of a two-part infrastructure plan. But even the one that did pass, it was talking about spending over several year time. So Sunset Limited was never daily, right? Learn something new every day. Sorry, I'm not 100% on everything that I should be, and that's my fault. I need to read more, but I'm incredibly busy as it is. So, but yeah, no, Biden's infrastructure plan. It's better than nothing. It's not enough. We need high speed rail in this country, and I know that I did my video about the nationwide high speed rail map. That's not going to happen. It's a nice thought, but there's nothing logical or rational or tangible about that map. I'd like to see it happen, but we need to start with high speed rail between the major cities like the Northeast Corridor. If we can get 150 miles an hour minimum along the entire thing, it'd be nice. Towns like New London are in the way where it's like 10, 15 miles an hour through there. So, rank the relationship Class 1 railroads have with best relationship with Class 1s. I'm going to go with, this is my perspective and what I've seen. I'm going to go with BNSF, probably number one. And that would leave NS maybe number two. I'm not 100% sure about the Canadian roads. I know CP is terrible, so I guess BNSF, NS. I don't think they run on KCS, and if they do, I have no idea what their relationship is like. Um, and then, yeah, CSX is at the bottom, then CP, then UP. Yeah, I don't know. If you are curious, there are videos on my channel with me and my son, walking the old WP. Well, I will check that out, Ian. Thank you for sharing. And I suppose, yeah, that's a question for all you guys. Is anybody else putting up videos? I'd like to see if you do. Thoughts on the CP KCS merger? I think it's generally good. It was always a question of who was going to go first with the next round of mergers. The last round of mergers came after deregulation, the Staggers Act, and so what? NS was first in '82 or '84, then CSX, then UPSP. Well, no, BNSF and or BN and Santa Fe in '95, then the SP UP merger in '96. But no, and everybody talks about the class one mergers as it's like, well, it's never going to clear, antitrust, laws or whatever. And it's like, why the heck not? Because the two eastern railroads have such little overlapping track with the two western railroads. I don't see how that could possibly become an antitrust issue. But, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, so I don't know. But KCS, CP, generally probably not the worst thing in the world. It's not really going to affect me much. CP's, and there's the two smallest class ones, so it kind of makes sense. CN obviously bought the IC back in 1999, so it makes sense for the Canadian roads to have direct routes almost all the way to Mexico. What I don't know is how Ferromex is going to fit into all this, because I know Ferromex is owned like 49% by UP or something like that, and I know, they have their own track in Mexico. I don't know how that's all going to work down south, but it'll be interesting to watch how it unfolds. As far as locomotives go, which is the most important thing for people that work on trains like me, they're both terrible. KCS's motors are freaking horrible. They start out nice. They have lots of nice weird features, but no, they treat them rough. And if you get a grain train that came back from Mexico, there's nothing racist about this. It's just happens. Like, they always steal the radios or the handsets, and so there's always something missing when it comes back, and they smell terrible. They never clean the toilets. Glad I don't work for KCS. It's not a great railroad. And CP, same deal. They're better than KCS motors, but they're not great. All right, let's move on. Thoughts on SEPTA, if I know about it. I don't really know much about SEPTA. I think they're, what are they called? Yeah, God. The EMUs that Denver has, Silverliner 5s. I think those are awesome. And I'm going to the East Coast soon. Definitely going to ride them. Because I need to learn more about SEPTA. And I need to ride all the weird systems like PATH and PATCO that I've never ridden before. You think that St. Louis higher speed rail will get up to 110, or do you think they will settle for 90? I haven't been following that too closely, but 110 is doable. They've freaking done it. I mean, I'm not attacking you or anything like that. It's just they've spent so much money and they've been working on that project so long. I think they started in 2013, maybe even earlier. It's ridiculous. Yeah. These are the real challenges that we're having to deal with. Like if any of those new routes are going to be established on the Amtrak map on Biden's future plan map. I know that they're different. I know some people were upset that I didn't make the distinction that Amtrak came up with that map independently of Biden's American Jobs Plan. And yes, that's a fair point. But no, the freight railroads, they don't get a whole lot of press coverage because they try to stay out of the public eye, but they're nasty. And they used to be the most hated corporations like in the whole country. And if they had any real power that affected people on a daily basis, they still would be, because they only care about their shareholders and nothing else, really. They will fight anything they don't like tooth and nail. But anyway, this has dragged on for an hour and 20 minutes now. So yeah, no, I had a great time. This is my first live stream. Thank you all for showing up. If anybody has anything else they want to talk about real quick, let me know. But yeah, otherwise I think it might be time to get my voice a rest. It's getting a little hoarse because I don't actually talk a whole lot in my daily life. So when I film for a long time, my voice goes out. But no, thank you very much for everybody showing up. I really appreciate it. I was kind of dreading starting a live stream and being here just kind of twiddling my thumbs or whatever, but I really appreciate everybody subscribing. You've heard me talk about it before, but everybody has to do it. So if you like the video, like, subscribe, share, blah, 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 blah. Patreon, all that good stuff. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. And yeah, I'll see you all soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.